New this morning here, we just learned a former San Antonio police officer is now out of jail on bond. He's facing charges for shooting a teenager outside a local fast food restaurant.
And also new this morning, we're getting a first look at the officer's mugshot. Former officer, in fact. James Brennan was fired just over a week ago. Body camera video shows the officer unloading on a car.
Kid's door.
A 17-year-old
The kid's eating a sandwich. He opens the kid's door. The kid's like, what the f going on? Who's opening my door like this? Even if you see it's a cop, I don't know, maybe he thinks he's parked in the wrong spot. I don't know what happened. Maybe he got some weed, whatever. He panicked. There's no gun. He didn't see no gun. Dude didn't make himself known. He didn't say nothing. The cop, he just started busting that shorty. It's crazy.
As 17-year-old Eric Cantu drives away.
On October 2nd, 2022, a frightening incident took place in San Antonio, Texas. It all started when a rookie police officer named James...
He didn't throw his car at you. He didn't do shit. He just closed his door and in a panic or whatever it was, and you aired him out.
When a rookie police officer named James Brennan made a significant mistake while attempting to confront a suspect on his own. Officer Brennan had only been on the force for 7 months, and the situation quickly escalated beyond his control. The incident occurred around 10:45 p.m. at a McDonald's in north central San Antonio. The police had received a call about a disturbance at the fast food restaurant, so Officer Brennan was dispatched to the scene. Here's where things took an unexpected turn. When Brennan arrived, he mistakenly believed that he had spotted a stolen car that had been involved in a getaway the day before. However, as it turns out, the car was not connected to the disturbance call.
This is what they don't understand. Everybody's human. Nobody's perfect. They're just people like me and you. Bro, when you get to shoot guns at me in a parking lot, it can't be mistaken. I gotta be the guy, dog. I gotta be the guy. And you be mad sure in your heart, but you're not. You know what I'm saying? But you're not. And you shooting at people that ain't got shit to do with shit. You know what I'm saying? You can't have no mistakes when you're playing with people's lives. He get caught to a disturbance. He thought he saw a car that was stolen that was used in another crime. He run up on the kid. He opened the door. It's a scared 17-year-old eating the McChicken, and he starts busting at him.
Investigations later revealed that it was not actually stolen, even though its registration plates didn't match the vehicle. Unaware of this information, Officer Brennan became nervous, assuming it was the stolen car he was looking for, and he called for backup to assist him with the situation. However, instead of waiting for backup to arrive, he approached the car moments later, opened the driver's side door, and found 17-year-old Eric Cantu inside.
Bruh. Y'all keep doing this shit, going into people's houses. Oh, it's the wrong house. We were supposed to raid a house a block away. We were supposed to raid the house next door. Nah, you got to get it right, stupid. Don't cry when you get shot at because you walked into my house. You know what I'm saying? Look at the poor dude that was sitting on his couch eating ice cream. And the cop walk in the wrong crib and smoke dude. What? Look at this shit. Nah, you got to be sure, bro.
As the car door remained open, Cantu made a sudden decision to reverse the vehicle and try to escape. According to Captain Elisa Campos's report of the incident, the open door struck Officer Brennan, causing him to step back.
Bruh, the open door didn't strike shit. I don't care what you say. You opened that door. If it struck you, that's your dumbass fault.
Instead of attempting to de-escalate the situation, causing him to Campos's report to reverse the vehicle and try to escape. According to Captain Elisa Campos's report of the incident, the open door struck Officer Brennan, causing him to step back. Instead of attempting to de-escalate the situation, Officer Brennan chose to shoot at the vehicle while the young driver was pulling away in reverse.
That's some straight. That's some straight. I'm waiting for the door to touch me. As soon as it touched me, I'm gonna. You know what I mean? That dude was just waiting for that day. 7 months he waited for that moment. 7 months. He said, let me run up on Shorty right now before backup gets here. Open this door. Jeez.
After the driver shifted gears, getting ready to escape, the officer fired at least 5 additional shots at the car.
Shots fired! Shots fired! Shots fired!
Bruh.
Later, Cantu and his girlfriend,
Awful
identified as
mistake.
Emily Pruello, were discovered 1 block away from the McDonald's parking lot. Subsequent police reports confirmed that Officer Brennan had violated his training and police procedures when he approached the car. The repercussions for Officer Brennan were severe. He was dismissed from the police force just a few days later, and a grand jury indicted him on 2 counts of aggravated assault by a public servant and 1 count of attempted murder. The first aggravated assault charge was for shooting Cantu, while the second was for firing in the direction of Cantu's female passenger, Emily Pruello. The attempted murder charge was related to the shooting of Cantu himself. If Brennan is found guilty, he could face a lengthy prison sentence.
You going to jail,
Was a
dumbass.
failure for one individual police officer. It had nothing to do with our policies. Policies did not allow that. Our training does not teach that. So this was a fail for one particular police officer. And here we are as a result of that fail.
Amid the serious accusations, Brennan's lawyer, Nico LaHood, expressed concern about a rush-to-judgment attitude. LaHood argued that Brennan's side of the story hadn't been fully heard yet and anticipated that more information would come to light, providing further clarity on the incident. As a result of being shot by Brennan, Cantu suffered injuries to his stomach, diaphragm, lungs, liver, bicep, and forearm.
17-year-old.
He had to be on life support for nearly 6 weeks.
On life support for sitting there eating a McChicken with his girlfriend. And this other dude thought he was a super cop. And then he turned into Murtaugh and just started busting all over.
Following the shooting, and he had to undergo a tracheotomy. In December, Cantu Jr. faced
17 years old, changed Shorty's life forever.
additional complications that required him to be hospitalized again for a few days.
Look at this shit.
Cantu Jr.'s father, Eric Cantu, acknowledged that his son would need weeks, months, and even years of rehabilitation, but he showed great determination in his recovery. The family's attorney, Ben Crump, known for handling high-profile cases of police brutality, expressed relief at the indictments. He expressed gratitude for the overwhelming support the family received during Cantu Jr.'s fight for survival and their pursuit of justice. With the recent indictments, they feel they are one step closer to achieving the justice they seek. Bexar County District Attorney Joe Gonzalez stated, "Justice means making sure that man never works as a member of law enforcement, making sure that man never has a gun and a badge."
Anywhere
The
else?
criminal trial against Brennan commenced in June 2023.
Dozens packed a town hall meeting demanding answers about why an unarmed suspect was shot to death.
On December 1st, 2017, a new police officer named Chris Samayoa was on his fourth day of duty when he received a
It took him 4 days.
distressing call. The call reported an incident in San Francisco City's Potrero Hill neighborhood where a man, identified as Keita O'Neill, had allegedly assaulted a state lottery worker and stolen her government-issued minivan. The suspect had targeted a California state lottery van parked on 23rd Street in the 1800 block. As soon as the police were informed, they initiated a pursuit of O'Neill, who was driving the stolen van. The chase led them into the Alice Griffith public housing development near the intersection of Fitzgerald Avenue and Griffith Street. Eventually, O'Neill came to a realization that he couldn't continue driving, so he abandoned the still-rolling van, which crashed into a fence. He then tried to escape on foot and ran towards an approaching SFPD patrol car. Officer Samayoa was in the passenger seat of his training officer Edric Tollison's car and found himself in the middle of this intense moment, with other patrol cars surrounding O'Neill to block his escape route. As O'Neill moved closer to Officer Samayoa's direction, the officer took out his weapon and fired a shot through the passenger side window, hitting O'Neill and stopping him from further advancing.
The body camera footage released by the San Francisco Police Department.
Did he see a gun? He didn't see no gun. He didn't see nothing. He just saw somebody running.
This evening shows the officer drawing his weapon while sitting in the passenger seat of his patrol car.
Trainer.
Just as he arrives in front of 42-year-old Keontae O'Neill, the officer opens fire, killing O'Neill.
In a 25-second video, you can see the police officer sitting in the passenger seat of the patrol car. As the car turns the corner, the officer pulls out his gun. At the same time, Keita O'Neill's
So many veteran officers on the scene, and it took the rookie to, I'm gonna do something. What'd you do, bruh?
head can be seen outside the car. The officer fires a shot, breaking the glass of the passenger side window. After the incident, O'Neill was rushed to San Francisco General Hospital, but unfortunately, he was later pronounced dead. It's worth noting that O'Neill did not have any weapon on him at the time of the incident.
Mr. O'Neill then began to run towards the direction of the marked SFPD vehicle while the van he drove continued to roll forward, striking the fence.
In the video, I'm not sure I see him running toward.
Well, you guys have the video, so I'm sure you're going to look at it frame by frame if you can do that. But look, the reason that we put the video out is for everybody to see what we have at this point.
3 months later, Officer Samayoa faced the consequences of his actions that day. Police Chief William Bill Scott took the decision to terminate Samayoa from the police force, and he had the authority to do so as the officer was still in his probationary period.
Bruh.
However,
Day 4, you hopping out of the training position of the whip to just smoke somebody? How about you wait for the discretion of everybody else? You seen them running, well then do your protocol, bro. You see a gun? No. You see a knife? No. So then back up.
this decision sparked controversy and received a lot of criticism from the police union. Martin Halloran, the president of the San Francisco Police Officers Association, strongly objected to the chief's choice and accused him of being cowardly and politically motivated. Halloran firmly believed that Officer Samayoa had been fired despite doing what he was trained to do. He pointed out that Samayoa was just a rookie officer on his 4th day of duty when he found himself in an incredibly stressful and challenging situation. According to Halloran, the firing was unnecessary and unjustified, and he defended the officer's actions during the incident.
It's murder. I mean, there's no other way to look at this, but it's murder. He should be in jail right now. Should not be laying dead dormant.
After a couple of years had passed, in 2020, San Francisco District Attorney Chesa Boudin made a statement emphasizing that police officers would not be above the law under his administration. True to his words, and to offer some comfort to the grieving family, Boudin decided to press charges against Officer Samayoa. The charges included voluntary manslaughter, involuntary manslaughter, assault with a semi-automatic firearm, assault by a police officer, and discharge of a firearm with gross negligence. This was significant because it was the first time the district attorney's office pursued homicide charges against a law enforcement officer. In response to the charges, Tony Montoya, who succeeded Martin Halloran as the president of the San Francisco Police Officers Association, issued a statement. Montoya pledged to support Officer Samayoa and his family during this challenging time, ensuring that the officer's rights were respected, and he received a strong defense against the charges. Meanwhile, the victim's mother, Judy O'Neill, sought justice for her son's death by filing a civil rights lawsuit against the city of San Francisco in 2017. Civil rights attorney John Burris represented Judy O'Neill in the case, highlighting the devastating impact the fatal shooting had on her. The civil case was scheduled for trial in October 2021, but just before that date, the city of San Francisco chose to settle the lawsuit.
Sure they did.
The Board of Supervisors approved a settlement amounting to $2.5 million. Due to a medical crisis that left Judy physically and mentally compromised, her sister April Green was appointed as Keita O'Neill's guardian during the legal proceedings.
To me, it was an egregious shooting, and it's important for the community to have confidence in the district attorney's office that when shootings do occur, that they evaluate them and determine whether or not the conduct of the officer was appropriate or not. In this case, it clearly was not.
However,
in this case, he had his hammer out, ready to go, and let it fly. Out the training, he was on his training wheels.
The situation took a disappointing turn when it came to holding Officer Samayoa accountable for his actions. The case became tangled in political complexities, and with a change in the district attorney's office, the charges against the officer were dropped. District Attorney Brooke Jenkins, who replaced Boudin, filed a motion to dismiss the case initiated by her predecessor in March 2023. Adding to the complexity, Attorney General Rob Bonta decided not to pursue the prosecution of the homicide charges against Samayoa. In a letter dated May 18th, Bonta expressed his belief that there wasn't enough evidence to prove the charges against Samayoa beyond a reasonable doubt. Consequently, San Francisco Superior Court Judge Loretta Georgi officially dismissed all charges against Officer Christopher Samayoa.
Got away with murder.
I feel powerless. I'm really worried about the rest of our black and brown men who live in the Bayview area because this is a license to kill, expressed April Green, O'Neill's aunt, after her nephew's case was dismissed. She believes that this decision sets a dangerous precedent, giving officers a pass to use excuses to justify the killing of black and brown men.
Old soul, yes, it's crazy indeed. Buddy got away with murder. They protected dude all the way out the training wheels.
Back in 1995, Carol Shea, a 25-year-old police officer from the New York Police Department, made a decision that seemed profitable at first, but ended up costing her dearly. She posed for the cover of Playboy magazine with the title NYPD Nude. In the photos, Shea was seen in a seductive pose while wearing her police uniform, with her shirt unbuttoned provocatively and her gun holstered to her side. Inside the magazine, there were more pictures of her posing nude and wearing skimpy police uniforms. For this one-time gig with the magazine, Shea received a substantial payment of $100,000. However, her actions soon drew the anger and disapproval of her entire police department.
It's the name of the office. I mean, she represents the police department.
After Shea's actions came to light, an administrative trial was conducted to address the issue.
This one here, if she'd have had an OnlyFans, she'd have been able to leave the police department and say, kick rocks. I'm gonna go be on OnlyFans with my NYPD uniform. But back then, 95, this says it was 95. 95 wasn't no OnlyFans, man. Shit. Wasn't no internet.
She was charged with violating the department's regulations, as her behavior was deemed harmful to the department's image. The judge presiding over the trials.
It ain't like NYPD's image was any better than, or you know what I'm saying, holier than thou than old girl on some magazine.
Stated that the Playboy feature she participated in,
I'ma do Diallo, bitches,
depicted sex with a New York City cop, and as a consequence, recommended that she lose a month's pay and be placed on probation for as a Playboy feature she participated in, depicted sex with a New York City cop, and as a consequence, recommended that she lose a month's pay and be placed on probation for a year. However, the police commissioner, William Bratton, strongly disagreed with the judge's recommendation.
He liked the magazine.
He believed that Shea was not suitable to remain a part of the police force and decided to terminate her employment. In his statement regarding the incident, Bratton emphasized that the reputation of the New York Police Department was not up for sale, and he was not willing to tolerate anyone who attempted to compromise it. The president of the Police Women's Endowment Association supported the commissioner's decision. On the other hand, Shea argued that the photo shoot she participated in was done during her off-duty time, and she believed that the department was infringing upon her constitutional right to free expression.
My attitude, if you don't agree with what I've done, I'm sorry, but fortunately I'm entitled to do what I want, and I'm entitled to my opinion, you're entitled to yours.
She decided to take her case to court, hoping to challenge the decision made against her. However, in 1996, the court ruled against her, not supporting her suit. Playboy spokeswoman Diane Stefani also shared her perspective on Commissioner Bratton's decision. She believed that his judgment of Shea's actions might have been influenced by his personal feelings. Diane expressed that looking at pictures of beautiful women in the nude could be a positive and enjoyable experience, but she acknowledged that some people might feel uncomfortable with seeing the human body unclothed. Another police officer, who had been serving for 4 years, expressed her desire to continue her career despite the incident. She believed that her dismissal was undeserved and went through a period of feeling depressed, followed by anger. Following her termination from the police force,
acting wheeziness. It's just a typo.
Shea pursued a career in acting. She landed a few roles, including one in a film called Silent Prey. Additionally, she made appearances on TV shows like New York Undercover and performed in an off-Broadway play called Grandma Sylvia's Funeral. Eventually, when she grew tired of the acting industry, she switched gears and pursued a career in real estate. Shea expressed her willingness to continue with real estate and, if the opportunity arises, consider acting again. A few years ago, there was a troubling incident involving police detective Tiffany Lipkovich from the Highland Park Police and her co-conspirator Amber Bellamy from the Detroit Police Department. The two officers were caught distributing heroin mixed with fentanyl, which is a...
That's drug dealing if you ask me. Fentanyl too? Under the jail.
Highly dangerous and illegal act that completely violates the principles of law enforcement. Complaints were lodged against them, leading to an official investigation. During the investigation, federal agents intercepted and recorded several phone calls between Lipkovich and a confidential informant discussing their drug transactions. In one of these calls, Lipkovich showed pictures of the substances they had to the informant. Bellamy was also heard explaining that some of the items were priced at $1.80 per gram, while others were $1.100 per gram. Lipkovich inquired about how they were cutting the drugs, to which the informant responded that they were using fentanyl, a highly potent and dangerous synthetic opioid.
It's the devil. It's the end-all be-all right there.
Lipkovich wasn't surprised by this answer and mentioned that Bellamy would be receiving a shipment of fentanyl from overseas. Later, the confidential informant ended up purchasing a combination of fentanyl and heroin weighing 45 grams from Bellamy. The informant then met with Lipkovich while she was still on duty and in uniform and handed her $300 as compensation for facilitating the drug deal. This solid evidence led to the arrest of both Lipkovich and Bellamy. Lipkovich had been part of the department since 2011, but now she and Bellamy are facing severe consequences. They both pleaded guilty to the charges brought against them, and as a result, they each face a 40-year prison sentence. U.S. Attorney Ison, an acting special agent in charge of...
You're not going to be out here slinging this fentanyl and you're not going to get popped. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't even understand it, man. That shit is just killing me.
The FBI's Detroit division, John B. Howhurst, jointly announced the case. They condemned drug trafficking and addiction.
If they always considered crack, a murder charge or that extreme, this fentanyl is 20, 30, 50 times crazier than that.
Stating that it has caused a crisis in our communities, something that law enforcement partners are acutely aware of. Eisen emphasized that it's an affront to the integrity of the good men and women in law enforcement, as well as the communities they serve, when a sworn officer betrays their oath in such a manner. Instead of upholding her duty to protect and serve, Lipkovich chose to endanger the community by participating in the distribution of a dangerous and deadly drug. Howhurst stated that the FBI will continue working with local and federal partners to safeguard the community from those who seek to harm it.
That fentanyl killing everybody. All of these celebrities that you're seeing that's just falling off and just these unexplainable deaths. They like to party every now and then. Somebody put that murder powder in there. And that murder powder is just doing it up out there. See what this
Shocking findings of sexual misconduct rocked the Laverne Police Department. 5 officers and the police chief all fired.
One of those officers, Megan Hall, became the face of the scandal and the target of nationwide ridicule, and she's now filed a federal lawsuit.
I received harassing and threatening messages on my phone daily.
She's a victim now?
I felt like I had been terrorized.
Over the past few months, there has been a lot of buzz on the internet about a scandal
They're all trash. Look at them, all of them.
Involving Megan Hall, a 26-year-old police officer from Tennessee. Megan, who works as a rookie patrol officer in a small police department in Laverne, Tennessee, has gained unexpected fame, but not for the right reasons. So what exactly happened, and how has she become an overnight media sensation? Megan Hall, a 26-year-old woman from rural Tennessee, had a childhood that many would consider ideal. She had aspirations of becoming an actress, but life had different plans for her. Fate brought her together with Jedediah Hall, the son of a local pastor.
Look at this guy, the pastor's son, a PK, preacher's kid. Look at him with his worst nightmare right next to him.
And they got married in 2018. Putting their acting dreams on hold, Megan made the decision to join the Laverne Police Department in her local community.
Megan Hall was 24 years old when she was hired as an officer here at the Laverne Police Department 2 years ago. Her plan was to have a career in law enforcement. She now knows that dream is likely over.
In the midst of all this, Megan's husband, Jed, found employment as a park ranger, and their outward appearances suggested a perfect life together. Their photos showcased radiant smiles and a deep love for each other. However, appearances can be deceiving.
Absolutely.
Recently, Megan disclosed that she and Jed were grappling with serious marital issues, which
Yeah, he wanted her to stop being a putana and be a preacher's wife.
Eventually triggered a chain of events.
Park ranger's
The
wife.
turmoil in their relationship led Megan to seek solace in her job, but unfortunately, she also became
How does she take solace?
involved in some questionable activities. She engaged in intimate encounters with her colleagues within the police department. The individuals implicated in these incidents were patrol officers Juan Lugo Perez, Lewis Powell, Detective Seneca Shields, and Sergeant Henry Ty McGowan. All of them, including Megan, were dismissed from their position.
Now, they were doing this on the job, I believe. Think that'll come up. Now, is it a problem if they were doing it away from the job? Probably not. She's allowed to do what she wants, I guess. You know what I'm saying? But if they did it on company time, that's a whole nother deal. Preacher's kid got a lot to compete with over there. It's 4 dudes in uniform for her. I don't know how that went down.
Following the investigation, 3 other officers, Patrick Magliacco.
But if I recall correctly, he stood by her side and was like, "This is my woman." 3 more popped up, huh? Yeah. Park ranger.
Larry Holliday and Gavin Showborough were suspended. Given the extent of their wild escapades, it was only a matter of time before the entire world would become aware of the situation.
You guys are going to pay me because I was sleeping with your
Like a
police
little Chucky doll.
officers, and I'm a woman, and I'm a piece of meat, and I'm hot, and I'm sexy. Said nobody ever but me and my lawyer.
However, what exactly triggered the sequence of events? It all began on December 12th, 2022, when the police department received a complaint. Surprisingly, it was the mayor of Laverne, Jason Cole, who discovered, through a whistleblower, that something deeply troubling was happening within the local police department. The mayor received information that Megan Hill, one of the officers, was engaged in multiple romantic relationships with her fellow colleagues.
Lack of better terms, is a sex scandal going on in this police department.
These relationships didn't just occur during the officers' personal time in hotels, motels, and boat parties, but also while they were supposed to be fulfilling their duty of serving and protecting the community.
I remember while interviewing for the position at Laverne Police Department, they described the environment as a family. However, while I was aspiring to protect my community, the Laverne Police Department was not protecting me.
The investigation into this scandal was conducted by Andrew Patton, the head of human resources at the Laverne Police Department, and it uncovered some astonishing revelations. Megan and Jed's relationship was far from ideal. Just before the scandal erupted, the couple was on the brink of divorce and attempting to resolve their problems. Prior to the scandal, Megan had even misled her colleagues in the department, making them believe that she and her husband had an open relationship. However, this turned out to be false information.
Hired as an officer here at the Laverne Police Department 2 years ago. Her plan was to have a career in law enforcement.
Just before joining the police force, Hall had a meeting with Officer McGowan at his house, who happened to be the original whistleblower who informed the mayor.
What?
Hall went to McGowan's place.
So why? Why did you blow the whistle on yourself and everybody else?
With her husband Jed, but things quickly escalated at her. Hall went at his house, who happened to be the original whistleblower who informed the mayor. Hall went to McGowan's place with her husband Jed, but things quickly escalated out of control. At McGowan's house, Hall and the officer's wife decided to play a game of strip Uno and ended up removing their clothes. Hall was attempting to convince her husband Jed to engage in a 3-way situation, but he strongly objected and was understandably upset by the whole situation.
So he let his wife play strip poker at Buddy's house. Yeah, man. This is a very Caucasian situation here.
Nevertheless, it was reported that Hall and McGowan engaged in kissing, and the officer even shared explicit pictures of himself with Hall. Interestingly, the whistleblower himself, McGowan, found himself in trouble. Despite the overwhelming evidence, McGowan denied having any affairs with Hall. Consequently, he was fired from his job for lying during the investigation. Another officer involved, Patrick Magliacco, admitted to having multiple encounters with Hall. He disclosed that after learning about Hall's open marriage, both he and his wife, Amy, engaged in intimate activities with the female police officer.
The whole town
During the
was in on it.
investigation, Magliocco revealed that he and his wife had been in an open relationship with Hall since the spring of 2022. This incident serves as yet another example of Hall attempting to involve her husband in activities he was not comfortable with. What actually happened was that Jedediah walked in on his wife, Megan, passionately kissing Amy. Once their secret was exposed, they attempted to involve
He needs to stop pretending there was secrets. There was no secrets. She was doing it in his face. He was looking at him like, punk, why you ain't getting involved over here?
Jedediah in a wife-swapping situation, but he adamantly refused, feeling uncomfortable and disturbed by the whole ordeal. It's understandable that anyone...
Those are not red flags, bro. Those are red moons, red suns, red skies, red streets, trees.
...would find such a proposition difficult to accept. However, the most outrageous events in this entire story occurred at a boathouse during Memorial Day. All the officers from the police department were invited to a Girls Gone Wild hot tub party hosted by an officer named Stats on his boat. The officers...
These guys are just upstanding citizens.
...brought their partners and even some of their children along. During the party, an incident unfolded where Magliocco forcefully poured vodka down Hall's throat while they were in the hot tub. It was at this moment that Hall suddenly decided to remove her top. According to another officer named Durham, Stats quickly intervened, preventing Hall from consuming more alcohol and discreetly covering her up to protect her.
Protect your own children that are running around that boat while she wilding out in the... while y'all wilding out in the hot tub.
Durham and Stats claimed that they had never engaged in any inappropriate behavior with Hall. In a heavily intoxicated state, Hall even fell down a flight of stairs at the party before eventually having sexual relations with Magliocco. During the investigation, Magliocco expressed concerns about Megan's mental well-being. He disclosed to investigators that Hall had a strong inclination towards excessive drinking, and there was an instance when she drove home while under the influence after a party at his house. Magliocco also discussed Hall's tendency to express thoughts of self-harm and her statements about not wanting to be alone. According to the officer, Hall once pointed an empty gun at her own head and pulled the trigger, just to hear the sound it made. As Megan Hall's behavior unraveled, investigators discovered her involvement in steamy encounters with her superiors, particularly Sergeant Lewis Powell, who was also implicated by Magliocco. Magliocco informed investigators...
They all ratted each other out. So it took the one whistleblower, then they got the other dude and his wife. Then he ratted out the canine guy.
...about Hall boasting to him about Powell's genitalia.
Crazy.
Megan disclosed to Magliocco that she had engaged in oral sex with Powell while on duty. Her affair with Powell lasted for months, with the sergeant developing a strong infatuation for Hall. However, Powell was not keen on taking the relationship further and made multiple attempts to end it. Megan shared in her subsequent interviews with investigators that Powell even threatened to commit suicide when she tried to break things off between them. Initially, Powell, who was married, vehemently denied having any involvement with Hall on several occasions. He attempted to shift the blame onto Hall, claiming that it was well known she had multiple partners. However, realizing that there was no way to avoid the truth, Powell eventually confessed. Another officer in the department, Detective Seneca Shields, initially denied any relationship with Hall as well. However, under continued pressure from investigators, Shields eventually admitted that they had engaged in oral sex in the department's weight room while they were supposed to be on duty. However, one affair in the department's weight room
Look, she getting snatched up
while they were supposed to be on duty. However, one affair that Megan Hall didn't bother to conceal was her involvement with K-9 officer Larry Holliday. Megan openly admitted to the relationship during her initial interview. She stated that her interactions with Holliday occurred quite some time ago. When questioned by investigators about his relationship with Hall, Holliday mentioned that
quite some time ago you was only at the department.
He had once invited Hall and other officers to his home for a football watching session, which involved heavy drinking.
Right.
According to the report, there were discussions about a potential threesome involving Hall, Holliday, and Holliday's ex-partner. However, Holliday claims that nothing of that nature took place during the party. Subsequently, Holliday eventually confessed to engaging in sexual relations with Hall on multiple occasions, noting that they would meet in hotel rooms for their encounters. During the investigation, Hall initially denied having any inappropriate affairs with her colleagues in the department, except for Holliday. However, she did admit to sending explicit images to other officers while on duty, including Holiday, Magliacco, and Officer Showborough. The report
y'all playing on company time.
also stated that she sent
Dude probably sent, the whistleblower was probably just jealous. Thought he was going to be the only one getting it and the whole precinct got
pictures to Tim McGowan, claiming that he had a foot fetish and frequently requested such images from her. Additionally, her final affair was with Juan Lugo. Initially, Lugo denied any involvement in inappropriate acts
You
with
almost made it out, Lugo. You was the last of the last, man. All you had to do was hold out. But thirsty is thirsty. That whole precinct was thirsty.
However, when Hall confessed to their affair, Lugo was compelled to admit his participation. The two met at a hotel after partying all night with their fellow officers at a Go Fund USA event.
Hall concedes she participated under duress. She's not saying she was raped, but adds that the salacious details made public of sex on the job put her alone center stage and do not tell the whole story.
As a result of the extensive investigation into the scandal, it came as no surprise that Hall was dismissed from her position within the police department. Lugo, Powell, Shields, and McGowan faced the same consequence due to their violations of police procedures and their dishonesty during the investigation. Holiday, on the other hand, was suspended from his position for being honest and forthcoming during the inquiry, alongside Magliacco and Showborough. The aftermath of this scandal and the subsequent terminations led to a significant loss of
led to an empty police department.
12% of the Laverne Police Department's total personnel. Following the incident, Hall
she single-handedly, double-handedly, however she figured it out, got the whole 12% of the precinct.
Has recently spoken out and claimed that she felt subjected to sexual grooming by her superiors.
Of course.
This statement was made as part of a federal civil rights case that was filed. According to Hall's lawyer, Wesley Clark, she alleges that her peers took advantage of her and exploited her due to her struggles with mental health and her
she was there to be exploited. It seems like her mission was to be
troubled marriage.
Looked at as a piece of meat.
Her husband is all of the testimony you need to her wanting to be exploited. She's sitting here trying to get him involved. He don't want no part of it.
Be sexualized and exploited.
I know what most people are saying. You know, you could have said no. I get it. But my response to them is that I did say no.
As the case progresses, Burrell Chip Davis, the police chief of Laverne, has also been dismissed from his position. An independent investigator revealed that Davis was aware of Hall's involvement with her fellow officers, but instead of taking appropriate action, he attempted to further conceal the situation. However, amidst the turmoil, the true victim in this entire ordeal is Hall's husband.
Nah, he ain't no victim. He's a willing participant, a willing punk. He's
Jedediah. Despite the challenges he has faced, Jedediah is choosing to support his wife and work on resolving their marriage.
Right, so that ain't no victim. He's no hostage. That dude, he's got what is it? The Stockholm syndrome.
Marital issues. Coffee County Sheriff Chad Parton, who is Jedediah's boss, expressed his admiration, saying, "I don't know how he's managing it. He's showing more strength than I have, but he's determined to salvage his marriage."
Who do you even turn to when the chief of police is sexually harassing you? How could I get justice when the entire system, including the chief, not only condoned such behavior, but participated in it? I was lost and I felt alone.
Yeah. All right. 12% of the police force in Laverne gone in one fell swoop because old girl was out there passing it out. And they were taking it. They dirtbags too. Doing it on company time, even worse. You probably, if you would have kept it quiet, discreet, you'd have probably kept your little thing going. But got a whistleblower.